Hello, everybody. Welcome in to Esports Weekly. I'm your host, Agro, and we're going to start it off as we always do with our SPL predictions. We've got a lot of great stuff for you. Our community segment this week is going to pit Finch and Tom against one another, and I'll pick a winner, and you will pick a winner as well. We've got our usual videos and all that kind of stuff, so let's get right into it. As always, here on the desk, joined by Hindu Man and Taco with me here. And guys, let's start with what we saw last week in week 2. As far as for Europe, I think that the standout for me is that Obey Alliance had a really, really big set against Team Dignitas, and they show that they aren't quite ready to be considered a top 2 team in Europe quite yet.
No, and I think that's the problem with them now, is that they're just kind of middle of the pack. Like, they can take the odd game off the big boys, but they're not big boys anymore. I think that's the big storyline there, is that was Spring a falter, or was it just the new age of Obey? And it really is just the new age of Obey.
I think there's also the consideration, though, that it is pretty stiff competition in Europe, and I think that Dignitas has had enough of an advantage to have still been formed a little bit longer than Obey, because even with the new acquisition of Raffer, it still can't always be the perfect mesh every time.
Right. I mean, they're still clearly working on things, but I think that's a interesting point to bring up, Graham, is this just what we should expect from Obey Alliance? Is Spring Split more of the norm for them now instead of, you know, a bad start for them overall? Taco, do you have any feelings on that?
I think that Obey still have a little bit more to show. I think that the Dignitas set could have maybe... It doesn't have me fully convinced that Obey don't have the potential to still work their way into the top 2.
Yeah.
I think that it's early enough in the summer split that they could maybe take the set actually in the return process whenever they actually go for that mirror matchup yet again.
I will say, if we're 4 weeks deep right now, then it could be a real story of, like, this is the new Obey.
Right.
I think they've still got a time to, like, adjust things. I'm not too upset with them because, obviously, like, the top 3 are very a dangerous team, and even, like, against SK, they dropped a game against SK, and you're like, ooh, dropping games against SK.
Right.
But then Obey did, Rival did the same thing.
True.
I'm dropping a game there, so I'm like, okay, well, maybe that's just SK on the up. It's not as bad for seeing, you know, them lose a game to SK2 just because the other teams are also losing to them.
Yeah, that's a fair point. I think SK is definitely on the up. Overall, I think they've really impressed thus far in the summer split in comparison to at least where they were play level-wise during the spring split, but they still have a ways to go overall, as does Obey Alliance, it feels like, so far here in the summer split. As far as in North America goes, another team that I think a lot of people were excited for after week 1 was Trifecta. They looked really, really great. You know, the new addition of Paul, Met Yankee moving over to Hunter. And then week 2, they snapped back to reality and had to go up against Space Station. But at the same time, they didn't look bad doing it.
I think that game 1 was a little bit deceiving too, just because you always have to wonder what happens if Trifecta don't end up throwing there, because I do feel as though Space Station in a sense should have probably ended up losing that game 1, and the fact that their Order Titan set, I believe it was like 300 odd HP in comparison to pulling out Trifecta, and I think that the mental game right now is probably the biggest opposition for Trifecta over everything else.
Listen, Trifecta is still a new team, and the way you got to look at it is they've made a big change in the mid lane. They've had their mid laner move to to Hunter, and a new mid laner brought into the SPL that hasn't played before.
Right.
This split is their learning split. They are here to try and adapt and adjust, ready for the fall. Don't expect them to go off this split. I don't expect them to do anywhere better than mid-table at best. But next split, if they can find the ramp for next split, they're going to be in a much better position to try and make a run at Worlds.
Speaking of teams that are in much better positions, Splice overall, I mean,
Yeah.
they already have a better record than what they had during the spring split. As we take a look at the standings right now, Splice before were at, you know, 1 set win all spring split long. Now at 2-1, are they a real contender in NA?
Not top 3 though.
Not top 3?
I think they are top 3.
No, I mean, they've lost to.
I
lost
really
to
do,
United.
because the thing is, we're looking at Trifecta, Luminosity, and Counterlogic Gaming as being the teams, mostly CLG, I think, out of those options as the third place team. But the thing is, I really am not sure that CLG is going to be able to pull it together, because they're already sitting with 0 points at the bottom of the standings, and we are in week 3, halfway through the process. You have to have at least one of those sets be Ws.
If I said top 3, I meant not top 2. Let's just clear that one up. I think Splice could be top 3. I meant top 2. Even the Space Station Gaming are going to be the top 2 in North America, without a doubt.
Sure.
Like, you can see that already. The writing's already written down for everyone to see clearly. The rest of the league is kind of up for debate a little bit more, and I think Splice could sneak that 3rd spot overall, but I don't think they're breaking the top 2. I think there really is a divide in North America now between the top 2 and the rest of the pack.
That's a fair point. I mean, CLG, as Taco mentioned, sitting at 0-3 thus far. Very disappointing summer split for them, but They still have a little bit of time to turn it around. Remember, E United started off 0-3 and then ended up making land during the spring split. Speaking of bad starts and trying to turn it around, let's take a look at how we have done as casters so far in our predictions. Would you look at that? That top percentage is a running total of our picks so far. 70% for your boy.
Wrong with this is rubbish. This doesn't make sense.
No, those are your picks that are rubbish there, Graham. Listen, this is just killing the game overall for me. Rival versus Energy.
Or is that just for week 2?
So the picks that are underneath are just last week's. The top percentage is the running total.
Okay, so I think predictions are telling me I was 100% last week, but because my first week's predictions were bad,
yes,
I'm at 65% still.
And it still wasn't good enough
so
to
I was
beat me.
100% last week. Can we just say that clearly? Because that clearly doesn't show that.
And you're 65% overall, whereas...
Oh, because you went from 40%. You jumped. Yeah. That's why.
Are you not impressive?
I was confused by that. I was like, wait, what? I'm sure I got them all.
You know, Graham, having a great second week is great and all, but consistency is what matters here on the Esports Weekly desk, and clearly still need a little bit of room in that department. Let's get into it. Week 3, so maybe you can try and pass me up here.
I was going to have a 100% week. It's no problem.
Maybe.
I'll read them out now if you want.
Let's take a look at the schedule. Overall, we're going to start it off with Team Dignitas versus SK Gaming later on today.
See, it's that easy.
Oh, just
done.
Okay, well, we've got stuff we got to do for you. You're kind of jumping the gun a little bit. I know you're excited.
I want to keep 100% now. Now that I know everybody recognizes I got 100% last week, I'm ready to do it again.
Yeah, okay. All right. Well, Taco, we'll start with you then because Graham already kind of started, I suppose.
Did.
Look, SK has looked better, but
I don't know if they look Dignitas better.
Sure.
That's the difference here. I think that SK have certainly started making some improvements towards a lot of their compositions and their playstyles. We've been seeing a little bit of success happen now for the team in comparison to the spring split, but it's Dignitas, and unfortunately, I think this is just going to be a bit of a bumpy week for the SK guys.
SK's got a tough schedule ahead of them, for sure, and that's kind of what the SPL will do to you, right? They'll build you up a little bit and be like, hey, you guys can compete, and then you get smacked down by Dignitas and the rest of the top of Europe.
Energy.
And then Energy.
2 matches they've got this week. Rough.
Prayers for SK.
Still think they can sneak one against Dig, though.
You think that this could go 2-1?
They might sneak one against Dig.
I could see it.
Yeah.
SK's been sneaky good.
Yeah, they've been sneaking ones against a couple of teams now, like rivals. So I'm like, okay, they could probably do it here too.
All right, well, I think we've all got Dig, and there you go. We all have Dig there. Okay, next up, Space Station versus Splice. That'll be our North America game later on today. This is the test for Splice, right? Yeah. If they can be a top 2 team. Now, they faltered against the United last week. That was the other top 2 team right now. Do you think they have what it takes to take down Space Station?
No.
I think if they had actually won against United, then I might have been a little bit more swayed towards Splice. But considering that they ended up losing in kind of a controlling faction from United, I think that they're going to probably suffer a similar fate against Space Station.
Completely agree. I don't think they're going to have an easy time of this against Space Station Gaming. Like I said, I think Space Station and United are the top 2 in North America. And anyone taking just a game off those 2 is going to be impressive this split.
Do you think Splice has what it takes to at least take a game then?
Maybe.
Maybe?
If we're lucky, we'll get some good
It's like 30-70. I think 30% chance that they can, 70% chance that it doesn't.
I think they've got a much better chance of taking a game off of Space Station. I don't think that they will beat Space Station in 2 games overall. I think this likely will go 2-1, but I've still got SSG over Splice.
I predict this week we're all going to have the same picks.
This
seems like one of those weeks.
I don't know.
Oh, Taco's got something brewing over there. I can see it in her face. All right, well then let's move on to Tuesday as we try and figure out exactly what Taco is going to go for in one of her strange picks. It's going to be Team Rival versus Obey Alliance. We were just talking about the test that was coming from Splice. Now this is a great test for Obey Alliance. Taco, where do you think Obey Alliance really ranks in Europe, and can they beat Rival?
It's always really hard to ever vote against Rival, but sometimes you just get the hunch, and this feels to me like one of those sets that Rival could potentially end up dropping.
Really?
Ooh.
In like a 2-1 fashion, I think.
Okay.
I mean, I think that Rival has had their inconsistencies kind of come back a little bit during the online split, but just slightly. It's not fair to really say after just 2 weeks that they aren't as consistent as they were during the spring. But I think Obey has improved, and Rival has been on the downtrend very slightly so far in summer.
Slightly fair.
So I think that it's fair to say that this shouldn't be a free 2-0 for Rival, but I think at the same time, this is an opportunity against a team that's on the up and up, on the upcoming, rising up for Obey, that Rival's going to take this very seriously and really put a ton of prep into it overall, so I've got Rival.
There's a big difference between games you're expected to win and games that you need to win, and this is a very much a game you need to win as Rival. So I think they will pull out all the stops against Obey. It won't be like the SK games. It won't be like that. I think it'll be a little bit step ahead of that, expecting Obey to come out with something too. Because same for Obey, they have to be the same sort of way of this is their moment. This is their time to step up and show they have it, what it takes to break the top 3 again.
Do you think that Obey has enough in the tank to actually win this set?
I think they have enough intent because to me, Obey feels a little bit more like a team that actually tends to play to the level of the opposition that they're against.
Sure.
I do think that funnels pretty heavily into their energy as a unit, and so that is where I think the more serious impact could maybe be had in their set against Rival, and it could probably catch Rival a little bit off guard, but then again, Rival are a team, like I said, they're exceptionally difficult to ever want to go against because they almost always manage to pull it off.
They'll be pulling something weird out, but Taco already deviating from the same picks as us, so that's good. We're not all going to be the same.
It's still Rival. It's okay. I'll keep my 100%. Taco can drop a bit.
We'll see if you're going to match me, Graham, because, 70%.
Sometimes it's fun to be a little bit off the
10
wall.
games a week, 10% loss there.
Hey, that's all right. Energy versus Mouse Sports is going to be the next matchup on Tuesday.
We can move on, right?
No, we have to talk about it.
Well, I actually really wanted to.
If you go Mouse,
please, Taco, by all means, I'll just sit back here, take it away.
I just wanted to see like the look on your face, but no, I think we all know that even I went Energy for this one.
It's like Monday morning. I'm going to check for how much alcohol's still in the system if you're still doing that. I'm not joking.
So why do you have to say still in her system? Like, it's just a given fact that Taco
I'd be really upset if she came to work drunk. How about that? Like, if she came in drinking.
Right, but it's just like, when you say still, it sounds like she guaranteed got just like turned up on Sunday.
Yeah, she was lit all weekend. And then
I don't even drink.
Hey, I'm not going to get in the middle
Mouse,
of that.
I would have expected you were drinking. That's what I'm saying.
Energy,
you know what? Fair enough.
For all of us. Mouse has looked better, though, for the record. Okay, let's move on to Wednesday in North America. E-United versus Trifecta. Trifecta just had their set against Space Station last week that they should have won Game 1, then didn't even come close to winning in Game 2. Do you think that this is an easier matchup for them against E-United? Do you think that they match up just in their specific roles better against E-United than Space Station?
They may do, but at the same time, if you look at how Trifecta performed last week, they lost to Space Station game. They also lost to Splice, and if we're classing Splice as part of the top 3, and E-United's one of the top 2, at least in my eyes, then I don't see this happening. There's a chance Trifecta take a game, but I think E-United are going to have the rub of the green here.
I'd base it a little bit more off of that Space Station set, purely because of the fact that we know E-United and Space Station do tend to scrim each other pretty heavily, and so one can typically be a reflection of the other in terms of performance, and that's the kind of stuff that you want to see as a result from scrims. And if E-United, or Space Station, excuse me, have been looking as strong as they have, then you almost have to expect the same exact results from E-United.
That's a fair point. I think these two teams are very similar in E-United and Space Station because of that scrim mentality that they go in with. But at the same time, Trifecta, I feel like, have what it takes to take at least one game. I've got this going 3, I think, definitely. I've still got E-United, but I still think this goes 3.
I think Trifecta, this is a test for them for the fall split once again. Like, this team, this whole split, I should say, is all about them getting the ramp up of Paul back to now in the mid lane for him and Yankee back to the Hunter role. So this is all like the learning environment for them. If they can take a game off of United, a big boon. If they take the win over United, you're talking about them seriously for fall then.
Yeah, that's a fair point. Taco, you got E-United as well?
I have E-United too, yeah.
Fair enough. All right, next up is going to be CLG versus Luminosity. CLG looking for their first set victory, and so is Luminosity. They're both sitting at 0-3 thus far. Someone is getting a set victory here. Who will it be?
I actually have the feeling the LG roster has just slumped after the spring split and the start they had. A lot of people predicted them to not do so well in the Pro League, be bottom of the Pro League in spring. Maybe they should have been saying that about Summer instead, because the love and the attraction of the league is kind of like waned off this roster as the games have gone on, and now they're struggling, sat at the bottom. CLG, meanwhile, like, they have the stars, Taco, but they've not managed to do anything with it.
They've got the stars, but they haven't had the actual outcomes that they've been desiring for. And I think that CLG, I mean, they're a team that is definitely a little bit sore with themselves. They are not a team that likes to go down in like the fashion that they have, and this has been a bit of a brutal start for those guys, even because you have to consider this is all funneling into the LAN, and we're realistically halfway through, and they've yet to find a set win in comparison to the leading teams right now.
Right.
So that's gonna play a little bit more towards I think it works a little bit against CLG.
It does,
even in a sense, because they might have those feelings already of potentially maybe we're not going to be able to even qualify.
Morale on that CLG squad is something
Yes.
that I think will take a hit to not performing to the best of their ability and finding any wins. LG, meanwhile, will be like, everyone expects us to be bottom, so what's the harm in trying? I think that they've always had that mentality, LG. So coming into this set, like, it's probably going to be closer than everybody expects, because on paper it should be an easy 2-0 for CLG with the roster they have up against the roster LG has, but it's not to be. It's not going to be the case as easily as all that.
That's a fair point. Now, I will point out, though, that this will be Weekend's first SPL set as a married man. Graham, do you think that getting married helped your casting at all?
This is a rough question.
Just asking, you know.
I mean, there's
Figure
things I
that
could
out.
say and get in trouble for, and there's things I could say and get in trouble for.
Why don't
so
you just go ahead and tell the
I'm
truth
gonna
for us
plead
here?
the fifth? I'm allowed to do that in the
There's
States,
no
right?
right
don't-
answer
I don't
in this
think so.
situation.
Plead the
at all.
fifth?
I'm not
You're
going
on
to
a
bail
green
you
card,
out. I
Graham.
want to
You
hear
don't get
this
to
one.
plead
I
the
don't get to
fifth.
plead the
No way.
fifth.
That's not a right that you get.
I was hoping I could. Married life's different. I don't know if it's going to affect his gameplay. We'll find out. If she starts calling to do the dishes during the games, we could have some issues for LG.
Could have some issues for LG, especially up against a team of CLG's caliber, at least on paper, you'd think. I think CLG gets their set victory here, but I will say this. If LG win this set, I'm ready to bury CLG. I think that team would have a tough time coming back from 0-4. I think morale's a great point about that squad, and I wonder about
I think
it.
you're right. If you lose that, I think they'll change in fall. I think
Yeah.
that'll have roster changes in fall if they don't do well here.
I think that's fair to say. All right, next up is going to be Energy versus SK as we move on back to Europe on Thursday. Energy versus SK.
Giant Slayers.
SK looks better, but they got smacked by Dig by our predictions earlier on this week. Do you think they'll get smacked again?
Yeah.
You get the old 1-2?
I think they're going to get the 1-2, but at the same time, this is the team that I think can take games of the big dogs now. They're just one of those teams that are going to do that now. That's kind of how it feels to me.
Energy.
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 Yep, there you go. SK. Good, better, but not good enough quite yet. Next, it's Obey Alliance versus Mouse Sports. These are the games that if Obey is going to solidify themselves as a middle of the pack but even top end contender, they have to win these games.
Funny
Right?
enough, this one's actually going to impact Mouse more than Obey. I think Mouse has done well. Last week they took a game off Dig, which was really important to show how much they've grown. The difference is that if Mouse find a win here or 2 wins against Obey, they're alongside Obey in the middle of the pack. If they lose this, they're still at the bottom end of the table, which I think is quite important for them.
Right.
Whereas Obey, this is a game they should be winning. This is a set they should win.
I think this is definitely one of those sets that if you have some concerns about Obey, this is the one to really be concerned about the team for, because like I mentioned earlier, they tend to, or at least to me, it kind of feels a little bit more like they play towards the level of whatever they think they're against.
Right.
I think Mouse is certainly one of those teams where you might go in a little bit overconfident if you're a veteran roster like Obey, and so that could pose some issues for the team. But as far as like disconnects are concerned and overall like play style, I think that Obey have actually looked really fluid.
Yeah.
I think that they've gotten a little bit unlucky with some of their results, but in the end, I do feel as though this is still a set that we should be seeing Obey win.
Duo lane.
Duo lane?
That's a big fight there.
We'll have to wait and see. I've got Obey Alliance here, and for the same reason, kind of what I was just saying for CLG, if Obey lose this, their summer split hopes are pretty much gone in my mind.
gonna hurt a lot.
Obviously not statistically.
It's going to hurt a lot for them to lose a game here and they're going to have to find the ground elsewhere, but you shouldn't be dropping games there.
Can't do it. Next, on Friday, CLG versus Splice.
Big one.
This is a great opportunity for Splice to prove just how good they are. Are they better than CLG right now?
So this is based off whatever happens with CLG LG earlier in the week. If LG beats CLG, this is free Splice, no problem. If CLG beat LG convincingly, then it's like, okay, maybe CLG had a slump at the start of the split. They're going to ramp up now. Splice is a great test for them there, where Splice is on the up and playing very well for themselves. Interesting matchup, and I think a lot of that, this is really going to be based off how well Splice play against SSG earlier on in the week on Monday, and then again how CLG play against LG.
I think the big thing for me is going to be watching Splice's decision making, because even in that last set, they ended up falling. They ended up losing the set against Space Station. I noticed that like a lot of just even the bare itemization choices were a bit questionable. Like you're playing into healer compositions and yet you're refusing to build Cursed Onks and things like that. So this is one of those sets where Splice can't afford to make those kind of oversights. I think that they have to be on their A game, or else they will probably end up losing the set against CLG.
No, I've got CLG beating Luminosity on Wednesday, and I think CLG, this will give them their momentum back. I've got CLG beating Splice here.
Wow.
but it's not going to be easy. I think this is going to be a really, really close set.
I've got it the other way around, actually.
Oh, okay.
I've got Splice beating CLG.
See, now you're back on.
But Splice, that's only as long as, like I mentioned, they don't have those little like oversights and kind of just questionable decision making.
Right.
Don't get me wrong. There's always things that like we as casters can't necessarily get the proper insight from pros. But I think that there are also moments where we've seen the game long enough to kind of understand this doesn't really seem like the play, my guy.
Sure. I think that if Splice win this, I'm all in on Splice.
Okay.
I'm sold. I'm really high on Splice, but I'm not quite there yet. So we'll have to wait and see. They can beat up on CLG. Last one of the week, it's going to be Trifecta versus Luminosity. Trifecta still trying to hope for that top 2 spot, top end of the North American SPL. LG, if it goes by our predictions, would still be winless at this point. Do you think that this is the team that they can beat?
If LG end up losing this set, I think they're done for this split. That's the way this is, and I think Trifecta need to find the win against LG if LG haven't won so far in the tournament, like in the whole league. If Trifecta don't find a win here, that's putting them mid-table at best, which means they're fighting for the next split. I keep saying the same conversation because it's kind of like the top 2.
It feels a lot like we are waiting for the fall split, though, to really see where, like, I feel like that's the moment where everybody's going to be ready to rumble kind of deal. And here, also, though, this set still feels like a very important one for Trifecta in that I don't think that they can afford to lose to Luminosity if they still want to maintain the status of, or I should say the perception of being a middle of the pack, if not like right on the cusp of top tier team. So they have to close this set out against Luminosity. I don't feel as though it'll be easy. I don't even think that the CLG set against Luminosity will be easy. And in fact, even if Luminosity end up dropping both of those sets, I think I would still have faith in that team as a whole to bring it together for the fall. Maybe some different incentives could encourage them, such as the whole Worlds possibility.
Yeah, people like Worlds. Yeah,
I will say last thing to add as well is like the patch change last week, so all the players now up on the latest patch that's currently on live. That's a big thing of like when the patch cycles go through, the first week can be a little bit up in the air. Right. Where the teams, I've seen it over the years, where the teams kind of like are late to adjust or they don't get the meta right of what the changes are and the adjustments. But the second week is where you're like, okay, we've had it over a week now. This patch, we should be up to date on what's good and what's bad.
Yeah, that's a fair point. Sometimes teams will kind of latch onto something that's really good right away, and other teams won't be quite ready for it. That being said, we've all got Trifecta here in this final set. Luminosity should try and do. They have potential to win both of their sets, but so far we all have them going winless into the next week. All right, so that's it for the SPL this week, but let's talk a little bit of Minor League. The Minor League last week, Anxiety Onset has basically a whole new roster, a lot of console players that are now actually heading back to console.
Back to console,
right? That they feel like that's their better opportunity there.
Can't make up their mind.
Can't make up their mind. Can make up their mind. Very nice to me. They've decided that they're really, really good at SMITE. They have been killing it thus far. That new roster looks phenomenal in North America.
It's a lot of name power, and not just name power that's been in the SPL, but always been fringe of like going into the SPL the whole time. That's the future roster of like NA could just look at that and go every single time, hey,
I mean,
let's get that guy.
Arguably, they actually have a couple of players that should probably still be competing in the SPL now. It's just with the reduction of teams, competition's bound to sift a little bit in different directions. And I think with bringing back Moswell alongside of Wowie, I mean, that paired synergy is already really high. And so now you just have it even more so. And then another addition with Pain to Beyond, he's just adding his experience to a team that's capable of actually doing something with it.
I mean, very nice to me. Sitting up top, 4-0 so far. They go up against Team Voltic this week, so excited to see that result. As far as Europe goes, it's just Insignum right now. No team really feels close to them at all.
No, I don't. I think they're all scrapping around to work out who's going to be up there with Insignum, but I do think Insignum definitely is the standout team over there right now in Europe. It's no real surprise from how well they played through the spring split.
Right. They didn't do too well at LAN, but their spring split online was very, very solid. I think they were by far the best team, even though their record dictated it, but just by the eye test as well. We'll see if that continues here in week number 3. That does it for our predictions here on the desk. Let's throw it over to F. Who's got your top plays.
Yo, it's good, friends. F. here, and we're getting ready for another fun week of Esports Weekly. You heard all them just John for a while about what they got right and what they got wrong. Shouts to Hindu Man, just striking out a little bit. But we're going to watch some players strike out a little bit today. 3 top plays, 1 top fail, as per usual. And we're going to start off. Where are we starting off? I got to look at my card real quick. We're going to start off with Barracuda. Number 3. Playing the Jingwei. This is a little bit of an extended circumstance. Here he's going to use the ultimate and grab 2 and just basically be the hunter that he's got to be throughout the team fight. But this is really the fun part, is that when he chases down that extended quadra, he like jumps around the corner. That's the fun part. I don't know. Just doing his job. Clocking in, clocking out, making sure that he gets the work done. That's the goodness. Number 2 is a nice follow-up. This one's going to be adapting. And it's interesting. This is sort of it's a highlight of a low light. So he misses this. He misses kind of everything. But he nails the crowd control to line up his Janus. And I really, really, really liked that. That's it. He goes in. He's like, I got it by myself. I don't got it by myself. I hope somebody can follow up. And that's exactly what happens. Jumps on the last breath. He sees out of the corner of his eye the Janus ultimate. And Zeus. I did this one for aggro. Zeus is going to be our top play. Pretty prime. Played him. And he looked, well, pretty prime. Forget I said that one, folks. But watch this. Look, just boom, 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 boom. Zeus. Like, that's when I get loud and annoying, because look how dope this is. How much cooler can you be? Oh, I'm in execute threshold? What if I just killed you? That's how Zeus handles things. And I certainly like that one. Top fail of the week coming out this time around. It's going to be kind of a funny one. Variety caught slipping. Actually, not. Variety tries to do the work. Here he is on the Xing Chen. Look how much damage he's doing. Oh, he's going to kill this guy. Toss him under the tower. Up, down. Furious roar. Gets this one. Oh, he's going to do so much. And Dardas just doesn't give a damn. He just stands still, tosses the hammer, and is like, bruh, what are you doing? I don't care about you whatsoever. It's not the first time Variety heard that. Great play coming out from the French support player. Dardas absolutely just crushing it. So fun stuff there. Finch is off camera and he's making fun of me, so I'm going to go beat him up. Last week, I had an interview with... and I was wearing the same outfit. This week, I have an interview and I'm wearing the same outfit. Let's look at me a couple of days ago in the same clothes. Hey, what's up, folks? Tom Banninger here, sitting down with Aurora, and we're just going to get right into it. Aurora, buddy, straight up, we're friends. How you been, man?
Good. How about you?
Chilling. You know, hot as hell down here in Atlanta, and the competition just making it even hotter. That was kind of lame. Hopefully the rest won't be as lame. But real talk, I mean, you guys have been spicy. I mean, Splice looked like, I think how everybody expected them to in the spring split. Kind of struggling with some things, excelling elsewhere. And then you guys stuck with the roster, and here in summertime, you guys are looking a lot better. Talk to me, like, big picture about what has made your team better.
Yeah, the biggest thing, like, I feel like I was thinking about this the other day, is that we brought Sino in kind of later, so we didn't have as much time to play with everybody on the team. It was like a couple weeks before the split, because we had a lot of scrims with UG before for like a whole month, maybe a month and a half. So we only got like 2 to 3 weeks of scrims before SPL with Sino. So now just having a lot more time playing with him, he kind of understands how everybody's playing, like Best and Divios, because I feel like they play a lot of like a pretty different style compared to other soul laners, other mid laners. So just getting the time to play with them and being able to mesh with the team has really helped us a lot.
I would definitely agree. You guys have really played through Shore a lot. And before we get into the X's and O's, I kind of want to stay with the personalities, because, I mean, you guys, that's a big part of what you and Best and Divios do. Sino, from the outside looking in, seems like a guy that would just fit right in with the family you guys have created. Is that true or no?
Yeah, Sino actually fit in really well with everybody. We all get along. I mean, we're all living together, and it's going really well. So it's definitely been a pleasure to have him on the team and be part of what we're doing.
Yeah, and you mentioned that you're all living together. Shout out to Kabam, who's helping you guys out there. What's that experience been like? Because you played competitive Smite for a long time. Your brother, professional League of Legends player. So you've got a little bit of an idea of what it's like to have like a team house and that sort of togetherness. But, you know, this is the first time that you're really doing it. Regular online split, the whole team here. What's that like?
Yeah, I mean, it's very interesting for sure. I've never been a part of a situation like this. I almost moved in back in season 2 to that Eager house with like the Zapman and Lazarus roster, but I ended up not staying on that team, so I didn't do that. So it was actually kind of funny for me. I almost did it before. So going into this, I've never done anything like this. Nobody else on the team has really done anything like it, but I mean, so far so good. I mean, everybody gets along. Me, Best, Divios have been to events together, and I've been to events with Sino and Cyclone and other seasons as well. So for me, it was really easy. I think for everybody else, once everybody got pretty comfortable with each other, which didn't take long, it was good for everybody else as well. So it's been a really awesome experience. And we're very fortunate to be in a situation that we got put into with having Kabam's family helping him out, and then Kabam also letting us do this, which is really, really cool.
Yeah, and then Splice stepping up and providing you some help as well. Really cool stuff coming out from the org and the team and everything.
Yeah.
Now, how does that help the actual gameplay? Because I mean, as a commentator, we've seen the communication. That obviously is a boon. But what else in-game benefits from being together in the house together?
One of the biggest things for sure is like the ping, because Cyclone, Divios, and Sino are all from the West Coast, and the servers that we play on are East Coast servers. So being able to be in the East Coast and actually have really good ping is really, really nice. That's like one of the biggest things for sure. And then obviously for me, especially, like just being in an environment with everybody in person and be able to talk about things and be able to have like conversations with people face to face is just like really helpful in getting to understand people's ideas and being able to work through things together as well. And I've always enjoyed LANs because of that. And like now we're just together for this split, so we could just do it the entire split, which is really, really cool.
Yeah, a big part of team play, whether it's SMITE or anything else, is that human aspect. I spoke to you just about how much fun it was, and then we talked about the X's and O's. Now, living together and balancing all those personalities, that's also got to be a positive for the team, right?
Yeah, for sure. Just bouncing things back and forth. You think this is good? Nah. And then you can actually see their body language and the way they react to it, and you could be like, okay, they think it's bad or whatever. So yeah, you get a better idea of what everybody's thinking for sure, just being in person.
Yeah, giant big changes there. And as far as giant big changes, you guys are up at the top of the standings. Not quite number one, but really close. I mean, it's early in the split, but is this something that you guys can expect to continue throughout the next couple of weeks?
Yeah, I like to take a game by game basis. So we're not, obviously we want to do well like everybody does that's in the SPL. So we're just taking game by game, and we've been playing pretty well. We had some missteps in the United set, but that's something we can look back and learn on for the next sets that are coming up. So yeah, I mean, we're all expecting the best out of each other, and we all know we can do it. We've been a really good team before, and I've been on a good team with like all these guys, so we all know we could do it. We just got to keep putting the effort forth and keep grinding to get better.
Game by game, grind by grind, that Mamba mentality, right? gotta keep it the same beast but a whole different animal. I want to drill down with one specific gameplay question before we sort of let you go. And you mentioned that Sino has been a big part of the team, and we've seen it. You guys have played through the jungler. That Arlong Shen jungle is like such a big deal. One, are we going to see anything else new? And two, I mean, is it about Sino? Is it about the pick, or is it just the way the team goes?
I mean, it's just kind of like everything, like you said. Like it's about the team, about Sino. Like all ideas are just coming together as one, and we definitely have more stuff planned, like in the upcoming weeks. You know me, I like to pull out some special stuff sometimes, so. You guys will see. I'm not going to reveal anything right now, but just stay tuned.
Hell yeah! I mean, that's the best. It's the best we could hope for. Now, all six of you guys, the five of y'all and Kabam, are hanging out at the house. We talk SMITE a bunch. What are you guys doing for fun there? I mean, that's got to be a great group to hang out with. What are you guys getting into?
Yeah, I know. Divios and Best are playing some other games. Same with Cyclone. Cyclone downloaded Realm Royale. He's been having a lot of fun with that. I was thinking about getting it too to try with him. I've never been like a big battle royale guy, but we also live really close to the beach, like walking distance, which is really, really cool. So I've been to the beach a bunch, and then just going out to eat, just hanging out, talking, walking. I think we're gonna go mini golfing like this week or something. So yeah, not too much, but it's been just a lot of fun just hanging out in a group and just going to get food and just talking about SMITE and just life and stuff like that. It's been really cool.
That's the key, man. That's what it's all about. Hey, thanks a lot. Congrats on your recent success, and good luck in the upcoming matches.
Yo, thanks, F. Dot. Have a good one.
You too. Peace out.
Buttons undone.
Yo, shout outs to Aurora and shout outs to F. Dot for trolling Finch right as we're going live. I've got him on the couch with me. Let's just go to him right now because clearly they can't stand to be off camera any longer. Finch, you just got crushed. I'm going to be honest with you.
I mean, like, yeah, that's the kind of thing I have to listen to and then act upon. I think I had a reasonable response, but I mean, that's just...
No, you totally did, but the fact that he got you with it, still very, very funny. All
Point
right.
for me.
Point for Tom. These guys have been on their nonsense during that entire interview, so I'm sure that there's going to be a really good community segment we have. So last week when we had the community segment, we had you guys in the chat choose the last selection of a draft, and I think that was pretty fun. This time we're going to kind of flip the script here. We are going to have these two do a draft, and you, chat, decide who got the better draft. So you guys have like 5 seconds per pick. If you don't make a selection, I will for you during that time. And let me give you a hint. It won't be good. F-Dot, you've got first pick. You're on the clock. Who's your first ban?
Are we banning or are we just...
Yeah, of course. I believe so, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Well, I would have opted for second, first of all, but being where I am, Thoth ban.
Thoth ban right away. Interesting.
Achilles.
Okay. Achilles banned by Finch. Solid. He's in second pick. I think that makes some sense.
You're a smelly person.
Okay.
That is not true at all. Finch smells wonderful. Don't appropriate those.
Shibalonke.
Ooh, an X-Ball ban in first pick? I like the Thoth throwaway ban, but I don't know about the X-Ball ban when you're in that first pick slot. Okay, Finch.
I'm going to ban Guan Yu.
Oh,
ooh, good.
Curses.
Good. Okay.
I was trying to bait into that one.
All right.
First pick overall.
3, 2, 1.
Ratatasker.
Ratatasker.
Ratatasker. I think it's
Rat's good. I like that.
I think it's jungler that doesn't show my hand on what my strategy is.
Okay.
I'm going to take Terra.
Uh-huh.
And
that's one of 2 correct answers. You've got the other one right in front of you.
Giannis. That wasn't it?
No,
I'm sorry.
Wasn't quite it. That's still good. That's still good.
No.
That's solid. Okay. F-Dot, you got 2 picks here? There is a really good god still on the table.
There are plenty of good characters.
It's harder when you're
5.
you're on the clock, aggro.
4.
I would like an Aphrodite.
3. Horrible.
And I would
2.
like an Opwash.
That's good. That's a good call. I like that. Aphrodite Opwash.
That's atrocious. That's so bad.
And here's why I like that, because now I'm going to pick Odin, obviously.
Yes,
because
excellent.
of course I am.
Okay, that's
I win now, by the way. We don't need to keep going.
I lose.
Okay, well, for just because we have to, I suppose we will continue. Though Finch is decimating this draft. Finch, you get first ban here in the second phase.
Right. I'm gonna ban out.
Hachiman ban. Okay.
I don't know why.
Solid Hunter does take away. You still need a Hunter. Does get trapped in Odin
and
cage.
I'm gonna first pick after this, right? So I can pick
Yes,
my
you are.
Hunter and
Yes.
ban shorten the pool a little
That's
bit.
true.
Yeah,
That's
right.
a strong
the
call. F dot, your ban.
What's a hunter with a great escape?
Why
You
would
want
you?
that, right?
Yeah, you
Yeah,
want that
yeah,
to get out of
that's
Odin
what you
cage,
need.
don't you?
Yes,
So don't ban them now. You're banning.
I understand that. I will ban.
Chad, there's a lot of pressure for some reason. I wasn't expecting
5,
this. Like,
4.
Medusa.
Wow, some excitement.
you know what?
please,
That was actually
F.
who I wanted in an alternate universe. That's not this one. I'm gonna ban maybe.
Medusa's a strong pick here, actually.
A Medusa ban.
Uller can
by
jump
F.
out pretty easy, right? Let's get that out of here. I don't want to do
Uller
that.
can jump out. Yes, it
I don't
does. Go with a little bit more of the all-in early game that Ratatosker can provide, while
yeah,
still
that's what I
having the
meant.
Aphrodite late game. So
All that was part of it.
yeah, I'm sure. Yes. F. Dot, your final ban. You guys really hate hunters right now, huh?
I do for sure for some reason. Where's this Odin going, do you think?
You suck, so it's a solo Odin.
No, it's a jungle Odin, you fool.
5, 4, 3,
Cucullin.
2.
No, I wanted that's really what I wanted.
All right.
That
okay.
is the 4th good move I've made this draft.
All right, so
right.
now I can flex and put Odin in solo.
I'm miserable.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, I can actually put him over there.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna have to pick Serket.
Ooh, a Serket pickup is really nice here. Finch's draft looking
sick.
really strong.
Strong, actually.
F. Dot, you got 2 picks here, and you're running out of bank time.
Serket really screwed me. I think I could hang on to dear life if you didn't pick Serket.
Yeah, I
and
think
I
this is
probably
good for
should have banned Serket instead of the Medusa. Right now I need late game prowess. I need a
5,
late game hunter. I'm gonna go
4,
Kali in the jungle.
3.
And I'm going.
And where's
to
Rat
go
going?
2.
Do not fear that
One.
I need a hunter.
F-Dot's final pick.
Late game hunter. Give me a late game hunter.
F-Dot needs so much help. I'm not gonna intentionally hurt him here because I mean, let's be real. I'll give you on
Artemis?
her. I'll give you on
No,
her.
I can't
Artemis
have
is a good
on her. I need an Artemis. Give me an Artemis.
Okay, he gets Artemis, I suppose. Another god that gets trapped in Odin Ring and just obliterated.
Yeah, no. Well, I need late game damage.
So is it Afro support?
Yeah, I need to know what your team. I don't know
What is your team? What happened here?
Bro,
Did
no,
you black out?
Yeah, no, what happened
Wait,
was...
hold on. We got to get Finch's last
Yeah,
pick, and
yeah.
then we'll get into it.
I think I'll take on her.
Yeah, I think Hu Yi is your best pick.
Oh, yeah.
here.
Hu
Ho
Yi would be
Yi
better.
should have been
It's
my
too
pick.
late.
Ho
I
Yi
didn't
should
take
have been
Ho
my
Yi.
pick.
Yeah, Ho Yi is the.
If I thought to take Ho Yi, I would take credit, but I didn't. I'll take on her.
Okay, fine. He'll take the on her, even though Ho Yi would have been the better
Ho
pick.
Yi's
Chat,
better, I admit. I just didn't
Make
take
sure you vote in the chat for Finch because if you voted F Dot here, you're fried. F Dot, what is each character playing here?
So, I mean, this is what happened. Ratatasker, I'm happy with my first round of bans. Ratatasker is the first selection as a jungle that doesn't show my hand and what I want to do. The Terra, I immediately got interested in the Apooch, but I really like Aphrodite against Janus is actually really, really strong. I opened myself to Odin. I didn't really have enough like set up. I think what winds up happening, hilariously enough, is you wind up having a support Ratatasker in this world.
Of course you do. Yes.
And
good, yeah.
You just kind of depend on
solid.
Afro to carry Kali in the late game. Ho Yi.
If you
And
make it,
you
if
never
we're like
get
at
there.
the 42-minute mark, I don't know how I win.
It's true.
Against
That is
Aphrodite
fair.
Kali. I don't know how I
You
win.
should never get to 42
and
minutes.
that's to go with the comp. I don't love it, but I do think it's salvageable for what it's worth.
Okay, yeah.
That's one way to look at it. Chat will be the ultimate deciders, though, of who wins.
Please vote,
this
chat.
draft.
I'm gonna win next week. That's all.
Yeah. Okay. Sure. You are there, Tom. Yeah. 70%
There we go.
for Finch. Yes.
Glad to know chat's
fair.
reasonable. I'm surprised about the 30%. You got a lot of fans. That's what I'll say.
Yeah.
No, I think there is some merit to it, but at the end of the day, I walked into that Odin ban and like it's funny because like this is fun. We think and talk about this as commentators, but like I've never done it on a competitive level. What do you do when you make that goof in a draft? Like you've done it. Have you ever done that?
No,
goof?
we've never done that goof. No, because you do prep before you go into the match. Like
Yeah,
you know
yeah,
what you're gonna pick.
Yeah.
You guys didn't clearly prep with Athena being on the table because
No, I
Athena
should have had
was
Athena.
really
Well, I had
really
Terra.
good.
I'm
and
fine with Terra. I don't need
Terra's good, but you could have gone Terra, Athena, and
Yeah,
been a
no,
really good
yeah,
spot.
that's
like
fine.
that was a trend. By the time Odin locked in, I was like, can we just
Yes,
leave?
right.
Like I'm
Well,
done.
let's leave this and go to the meta discussion. You picked the Op Wash, Tom, and so did United this week. Do you think that he's actually good?
Yes. Full stop. Yes, he is actually good. Opwash is a long-range harassment character with a ton of damage that has a ton of sustain. He's good in the middle lane. He's good in the solo lane. What has kept him out of competitive play is his complete lack of early game. He can't be at level 1, and that just keeps him out of competitive conquest, period, end of story. In a perfect world, if he started at level 3, Apooch is a standard mid laner.
Yeah.
Now, when you're talking about the specific meta we're in, he's going to doo-doo stomp Aphrodite in lane. She literally can't clear the wave without getting stunned, so he's going to doo-doo stomp the meta right now. But in general, that character's totally fine if he gets past level 1.
Finch?
I mean, there's just so many strong mages right now. It's kind of hard to make the case for the Opwash. I think if you're going into a healer composition, obviously that's strong enough. What really made him so good, though, was like you said, his matchup against Aphrodite was just so strong that he was able to kind of just completely take that Aphrodite out of the game. So I don't think I play him every game, but there's certainly situations where Opwash works.
See, I think people are underestimating just how strong of a mage he is. I mean, you're a mage guy, so I think you've dove down past the like surface level characters. I mean, you get hit with a triple corpse explosion, that is half of your HP.
That's
period. It doesn't matter if you're a healer or not. If you're a healer, then you're getting stunned on top of it.
That's true.
So,
but at the same time, you get half your HP taken by Kukulkan Tornado.
Yeah, of course.
You get half your HP taken from Zeus Chain Lightning Detonate, and you don't have to use your whole kit in either of those instances in order to get those that damage off, and you're safer on top of it in most of those gods. I think that Opwash is a great counterpick to Aphrodite in the solo lane. I don't think it'll catch anyone off guard anymore.
No, it won't.
And I don't think it's worth picking against anything besides Aphrodite in the solo lane.
And that was
specifically.
Aphrodite picked, I want to say, like 8th or 9th, right?
Right.
So there was an opportunity. If you
Right.
take Aphrodite last, you don't have to worry about
United got the perfect storm
Yeah.
in which to pick Opwash and nailed it. And kudos to them for doing so. I don't think that the weather forecast doesn't look like that to me moving forward.
I maintain that he can be a selection in and of himself if you're good at it. Also, side note, great siege character.
Sure.
You push that ultimate, you get the Phoenix.
Most of the time, yes.
You just can't fight in the ultimate. So if your team lacks in siege, I think he also can. That's like always pick up Wash against a healer, right? Also think about him when you have a team lacking in siege.
Really quick, I want one god answers here. What other bad god, considered bad like Opwash is, do you think is actually viable in the right spot in competitive play? You have one off the top of your head?
I don't think we have that many bad gods. Probably play more Chiron.
Okay, Chiron's a good pick. I don't think he's considered even. I think he's solidly middle tier.
Sure.
In a lot of people's minds. Tom, you got like a low tier god like Opwash that people consider?
Also Freya.
I would say
that's a good answer.
I would say that's a bad answer, and I love Freya. I would say Pwash outside of
you guys are both Anatoliing me. I asked for one god answers.
I gave really quick answers.
This is what I'm getting.
I got out.
Tom's
not doing his job.
I had a different one. Zeus or Zhonghui.
Amu's and Cobb for me, for what it's worth. I think AMC is still pretty solid in that mid lane overall. All right, that does it.
Aphrodite is a power mage.
Thank you, Tom and Finch. Let's move on to the global series. Guys, we saw a new team kind of pop up in OCE, but we'll get to them in a moment. Actually, let's go to SCL because that's what I was supposed to do if I would have read my run of show. SCL, I was just talking about it with those guys on the desk that the Anxiety Onset roster, I'm looking at Inbound, Crimson, Half Ghost, and Mollusk. They were on PC, they were competing there, and then decided they wanted to go back to the SCL. And I think it's less about, the overall formats or whatever you want to call it. I think that the difference between SCL and minor league right now at the top end of SCL is very minimal. I think that players have proven that if they do well enough at the SCL level, that means that they have a chance to compete at the SPL level. I'm looking at guys like Sino, at Keegs, at Paul, at these SCL mainstays that have proven that with the right opportunity, they can succeed on the PC. So I don't think that, if you're rooting for, let's say, Inbound to go to the SPL anytime soon, I wouldn't look at this as a backstep in his overall career at all. I think that the dude just likes playing with a controller in his hand, and that's really all there is to it in my mind. Let's go over to the global series, and like I said, a new team formed in OCE, Bang the Drum. This is an exciting team. Now, Envisionized and those guys that came to Smite Masters Land, they kind of moved on and went with their own thing, and OCE was kind of lacked, they had a power void, if you will, and Bang the Drum has come in and looked like the team that could fill that void in OCE. They've got Husey coaching them, so they've got to work through that, so that's going to be tough, but other than that, I think this team has a lot of talent, some really good overall mainstays in the OCE scene. I'm excited to see what they have, and if they can compete with the other top-end Global Series teams like that of the Nocturnes guys. SMITEPro in the jungle for them has looked so good. And look, I'm past the point of being surprised. I'm never going to be past the point of being impressed, but I'm kind of expecting this from SMITEPro and the guys of Nocturnes Gaming at this point. These guys have had so many great LAN showings. Time after time, this is one of the only teams, this is the only Global Series team to beat an SPL team at a major event still a couple years ago. A lot of these guys were on that roster. I'm really impressed with this squad, and I can't wait to see them come back and give it another shot at whatever opportunity they get next, because make sure if you're an SPL team, what Nocturnes likes to do, because if you don't, they're likely going to beat you at the international stage. Let's take a look at the broadcast schedule for this week overall. So we're wrapping up here on Esports Weekly. This is what you'll see every week, 10 a.m. right here with all my usual cast of crew. Esports Weekly at 10 a.m. Right after this, we're going to be going into that Smite Console League. And at 3 o'clock every single day, you can check out the SPL Minor League and Global Series Tuesday through Friday. Thanks so much for joining us. Now, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but we have our moment of Tolly here at the end. Tolly, after getting his chest waxed, I think that he lost some of his Tollyism powers. Maybe they were infused into the chest hair. So we actually don't have one this week because Tolly kept it high and tight overall. We'll try and bait him into something weird for next week. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you soon for the Console League.